Jujutsu Kaisen has a major problem, and it all has to do with this man. This is Satoru Gojo, one of the leading cast members in the hit anime series Jujutsu Kaisen. But you probably already knew that. What you don't know is that if he was a little less careless and actually put some thought into his actions, the entire Shibuya incident would have never happened. Don't believe me? Well, this may surprise you, but if Gojo didn't make this one mistake, not only would all our favorite characters still be alive, but even Kenjaku, the mastermind behind Shibuya, wouldn't even have made it past phase 1. So what is it? What is the one mistake that Gojo made that cost thousands of lives? Well, to put it simply, it's his strength. When we first meet Gojo, he's arrogant. He is currently faced with the king of all curses, and yet all he can talk about is the food he just bought.
So what is this? Kiku Fuku from Kikusuya. It's Sendai specialty and it's super good. I recommend the Zunda and cream flavor.
Yeah, great way to handle the situation here. If I was there, I would react in the exact same way. But Gojo's arrogance isn't unwarranted. Time and time again, he proved that he is the strongest. In fact, he's so strong that no other sorcerer can compete with him, which leads us to his first mistake. Simply put, Jujutsu Society is too reliant on him. Why send out less experienced sorcerers to fight special grade curses when you have a trump card that can solve every problem for you? Once you get rid of that trump card, all of a sudden you create a situation in which Jujutsu sorcerers are severely outmatched, and Kenjaku knows this. In case you don't remember, Kenjaku is the main villain behind the Shibuya incident and is fully aware of the state Jujutsu Society is in. If he can find some way to get rid of Gojo, then everything else will fall into place. We see this exact scenario play out during JJK 0. Other sorcerers simply are not adapted enough to handle stronger curses, or sorcerers in this case, which leads us to our second reason. Cursed spirits are naturally stronger. And I'm not talking about going to the gym and hitting a new PR, I'm talking about cursed energy. It's explained to us that ever since Gojo's birth, curses have only grown stronger in order to compete with him. For them, it's a matter of survival. If every special grade cursed spirit had the same power level as this guy, Gojo would have no problem eliminating cursed spirits. They need to grow stronger as a way to protect themselves. But Jujutsu sorcerers, they have a different story. They don't have to worry about survival since they are already at the top of the food chain. And with Gojo on their side, they have no need to become stronger. Obviously, there are exceptions, but how many sorcerers can match the power of Sukuna or Kenjaku? The answer is not many. Now you created a situation where there's a gap in strength between curses and sorcerers, with the only link being Gojo. Once he's out of the equation, all of a sudden everything starts falling apart. This idea is the basis for Kenjaku's entire plan. He is fully aware that if Gojo was taken out, then cursed spirits could easily overpower the rest of the sorcerers, which leads to Gojo's third and final mistake, his carelessness. As smart as he is, Gojo doesn't seem to put a whole lot of thought into his actions. Just think about it. When we first see him use Hollow Purple, his student is standing 20 feet away from the blast radius. Any closer and we could have seen a dead Yuji for the second time now, or third if you count the manga. But that's not all. His entire world perspective is warped. When facing off against Jogo, who at this point is an unidentified special grade curse, any ordinary sorcerer will be quivering in their boots. But he treats the entire fight as if Jogo isn't a threat. He even leaves halfway through, showing little respect for his opponent. We see him do this time and time again in each of his fights. And as much as I would love to sit here and talk about how cool Gojo is, what I want to know is the why in all of this. Why does Gojo act so recklessly when fighting strong opponents? Well, it's simple. Gojo is the strongest. Yeah, I know, shocker, didn't see that one coming. But seriously, Jujutsu Kaisen makes it very clear that there's a difference between how the weak and strong think. Characters like Yuji Itadori would rather rush into a fight waving their ideals like a flag, while on the other hand, characters such as Gojo or Sukuna treat fighting like it's a game. They don't need a reason to fight. In fact, these two are more similar than you think. Both Gojo and Sukuna are hailed as being the strongest in their respective eras, yet despite their similarities, there's still differences in how they think, as when Sukuna faces off against Jogo, he shows him respect.
Even so, you managed to entertain me a bit. I fought human sorcerers and cursed spirits 1,000 years ago, and you were still one of the better ones I fought. Stand proud. You are strong.
It's this difference that perfectly explains where Gojo went wrong. Sukuna understands that in order to be strong, it takes more than just power scaling and fear tactics. It also requires awareness. recognizing your opponent's strength and reacting appropriately. Notice how throughout Sukuna's fight with Jogo, he never goes all out. He always applies the necessary amount of force to get the job done. Gojo, on the other hand, uses Hollow Purple just to show off. He views his strength as the end-all be-all, that regardless of the situation, no one could ever come close to touching him. He carried this belief when we first see him fight against Sukuna and when he is defeated in Shibuya. Now, I have to give my props to Kenjaku. Holding hostages in a confined area, limiting Gojo's abilities, tricking him into using domain expansion, all of this in order to steal the man. He really thought this through, and yet his plan wasn't perfect. Gojo could have easily avoided this situation if he played his cards correctly. So what could he have done? Well, for starters, he could have simply brought someone with him. Kenjaku's plan revolved around isolating Gojo. Imagine if Nanami or Meimei were with him during the event. Things would have turned out differently since he wouldn't have been able to open his domain without causing serious brain damage. And without his domain, the window of opportunity would have never opened up for Kenjaku. All Gojo had to do was focus his efforts on the disaster curses. Another option was to be more cautious. He knew that these cursed spirits were planning something ever since the beginning. He also had information on how they acted based off of previous fights. If he had just formulated a plan with the other sorcerers, less people would have died during the event. But the biggest course of action Gojo could have taken was to just not go. The disaster curse's main goal was to distract Gojo long enough in order to steal him away, but you can't do that if he doesn't show up. This does cause other problems for the rest of the cast, so what if instead he patrols the surrounding area, or stays away from the train station where Kenjaku is waiting? Basically, all he had to do was relax and let everyone else handle the situation, and if that goes poorly, he could make an appearance and act as a saving grace. But to be fair, Gojo isn't someone you can put on the sidelines. He would have been stealed no matter what. If only he was a little less careless with his actions, then maybe Shibuya would have been a different story. But that will never happen. Holy shit, thank you so much for watching. These past few months have been busy to say the least, so you watching this really means a lot. I'm planning on making more videos similar to this style where I speculate and yap for 8 minutes, so if you like this video, then make sure you subscribe, and watch my other content on Jujutsu Kaisen because I made a lot. Other than that, see you for the next one.